Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the CoculesNation. My name is Sokio Cocules. I'm the founder and the director for Cocules Media and the CoculesNation. Yes, I made this change recently, which was on Friday last week at the time of release. I'm actually going to go ahead and disclose this now because since I happen to be using Cache OS to do my usual shenanigans, especially local first shenanigans, well, we want to find things that are local first. Well, that is what this Obsidian Vault I made is for. This will be testing Obsidian plugins for privacy preservation and locality. Now, this is quite a massive list. 24 sets of criteria. And not only that, I actually have a template. If I wanted to make a template example, I could load in a template like so, right? And then on top of that, if I do the testing criteria to the right-hand side here, I will then be able to follow exactly how I am supposed to do this. So take a look at these and then go software license and cost, right? And then I'll go through this entire rubric. It is a 24-step rubric. Now, will I be able to do all of these steps? No. Some of these will be optional, they will be mandatory. Some are optional, some are not. So that's the basic idea I have here. I think I should already have it to where I send stuff to the garbage. It'll be under files and links. Permanently delete. Yes. So I'll just go ahead and delete this because I have no need for that at the moment. But I'll just go through the testing criteria that I've set up here. Now, there were a couple changes I made, but I had a sort of list. I made this list using duck.ai. I think I was using Mistral Small 3 to do this. But ultimately, I had an idea of how I wanted to go about pulling this off. Because if you all have any Obsidian plugins for me to test, you can go ahead and let me know in the comments below. Either Sokio or I will go ahead and answer your questions if we already have a plugin that we confirmed is good. Plugins that we have not tested yet. And actually, I think I need a list of exceptions. So let me do that real quick, and I'll be right back with you in just a second. Okay, so I've just gone ahead and set this up. These are the plugin exceptions. I do have quite a few of these plugins here. Some of them I have not named, but I also do have them too. These are the exceptions. Okay, let's actually go ahead and pull this up a bit. We have custom font loader, data view, Harper, style settings, periodic notes, quick add, advanced tables, templater, typewriter scroll, graph analysis, highlighter, long form, file info, incremental writing, Kanban, outliner, quiet outline, word sprint, recent files, smart random note. But I'm actually going to go ahead and do this. There's a reason I'm going to do that. So that way I know what the plugin is called. Okay, so that's all done. But I think we should be good to go through the testing criteria. The testing criteria will go as follows. There are 24 of these, which is pretty darn insane. But there is a reason that I'm going to go ahead and utilize these. First off, the software. This will basically talk about what the license happen to be for a particular plugin, if the plugin complies with the terms of the license, if there are restrictions or requirements imposed, and if there are, we need to know if they are ethical under free software philosophy. We also need to understand if the source code is available thanks to the license, and if the plugin is free of charge or if there's a cost associated. If there is a cost associated, is the source code still available for you to basically build yourself regardless? If that isn't the case, then this would not be free software. For the purpose and functionality, what is the primary function? What additional features or functions are in this plugin? And what's a common use case? For the feature set, does the plugin offer unique features, setting it apart from the others? And are there advanced features useful for a specific workflow? We have some examples here: academic research, content creation, project management, software development, personal knowledge management, writing and publishing, all of this stuff. For tool integration, it basically allows you, if a tool will do this, some tools may allow Obsidian plugins to connect to their APIs or webhooks for custom integration. For automation and scripting, basically, some plugins may have automation scripts or workflows, and it could be integrated with some AI tools, specifically the likes of Make or Zapier, Active Pieces, in 8N, or anything of that sort. Error handling. Basically, if the errors are nice and clear, so you can troubleshoot them yourself. Scalability. If a plugin is able to handle a large number of notes or complex data structures, and if it is sizable and suitable for any size vault, both large and small. Backup and recovery. This has to do with a plugin supporting backup and recovery. Most likely, it will have to be local backups because Obsidian is local first. Okay, you don't even need an account to use Obsidian. You can, however, use an account if and only if you want to sync to their computer, which is actually going to burn you. And of course, it will cover if there are options for automated backups. For the customizability and extensibility, it basically asks here if the plugin can be customized for one's specific needs, and if there are options for extending functionality through additional modules or scripts, or even other plugins that actually happen to make it extensible. There we go. Just added that in. For user feedback and reviews, it basically will cover what others say about it, and if there are any common issues or complaints mentioned in the reviews. For the ease of migration, it will basically cover how easy it is to migrate data from one plugin to another, might not be so easy, and if there are migration tools or scripts available. This one I might put in as an option. Dependencies are if the plugin requires Brat. Now, what exactly is Brat? Let's look this up. Browse Brat. It basically allows you to install a beta version of a plugin for testing. It is called Beta Reviews Auto Update Tester. I think I actually need to grab Brat. So let's install it. Booyah. Install Brat. Have it there just in case. Are there dependencies documented? Well documented and easy to install. And if there are dependencies for the plugin that are optional or mandatory, it should also cover that. For privacy and security, it's number 13 here. This will cover if the plugin can be used without any tracking analytics things, if you can handle the user data yourself, or if it's going to be something stored on a corporate cloud. If you don't have a corporate cloud, can you store yourself outside of the corporate cloud? So a self-hosted solution. If there is a corporate cloud, it should be encrypted. If there are any known vulnerabilities or issues with security, it will also be there. If there are privacy policies, they should be clear and concise. And if there isn't a privacy policy, then it's local only. And then, of course, options for encryption if that's possible. And offline capabilities. This will cover if the plugin can be run offline, if it syncs with an online service, and if the plugin offers offline data backup options. That could get really interesting. Now for performance, it will basically cover how long it takes to load, the impact of resources, so RAM, GPU, and CPU. Yeah, GPU, CPU, and RAM, those could be bottlenecks. It will also cover if it will crash, freeze, or otherwise have stability issues, and if it would crash Obsidian altogether. It will cover performance settings being configurable if there are any. For compatibility, it will cover if it's compatible with the latest version of Obsidian, if it's compatible with Linux. I'm sure since this is Electron, Linux should be okay. And of course, if it's commonly compatible with some very, very well-known plugins, or if there's even a list of known compatibility issues with other plugins. For the UI, it'll cover if it is easy to use for a beginner, for intermediates, and for power users. Community and support will basically cover if the developer provides support and updates for a particular plugin, and if the reviews are positive. This will also cover if there is an active forum or community. This one, though, I think might actually be... This one is actually very well redundant, so I don't need that. For localization, this will cover if there are multiple languages for a plugin, or if there's one specific language. Mostly it'll be either English or Chinese. I think Mandarin Chinese in particular. And if there are multiple languages, are the quality of the translations acceptable enough for a native speaker of a language or someone who is fluent to understand what they're doing with the plugin? And on top of that, if there are options for user-generated translations. For accessibility, it will basically cover if there are accessibility plugins that are designed inside of the plugin. In other words, if there are accessibility settings within a plugin that allows you to basically take advantage of assistive technologies if you are disabled for some odd reason. And I also put in the Americans with Disabilities Act here. This is an American thing. If keyboard shortcuts are available, that will also be covered. For testing and validation or quality assurance, if the plugin has unit tests, if it has integration tests, if it has testing scripts for the plugin, and if there are user-generated test cases or scenarios for the plugin. This might be pretty hard to do, but I would not mind testing it myself. For deployment and installation, it'll basically cover if a plugin is easy to install, if it's a smooth update process, if it's easy to uninstall and remove residual files in the uninstallation, and if there is a detailed installation guide on how to get it working. For legal compliance, this is number 23, it'll basically cover if it is compliant with GDPR, which is Europe's CCPA or COPPA. CCPA is the California Consumer Protection Act, which I don't think is really going to protect privacy in California. And if it also complies with the 4th Amendment to the US Federal Constitution. This is what we call our Constitution. Just the Constitution, but it's actually a federal constitution. And of course, it will cover if there is a clear data retention policy, if applicable. Then for future proofing, we will basically cover the likelihood of an update or maintenance, if it is backwards compatible with an older version of Obsidian, and if so, how far back, and if there is a roadmap for future updates. This is quite a bit to deal with here. What version are we on? Version 1.8.10 is the latest version. But we don't need these plugins. All of these plugins are actually very, very well exceptions for obvious reasons. These are the ones we do not need. We will only be testing plugins that I specifically do not have exceptions placed for. But that being said, I'm actually going to go ahead and end this video here. Thank you, and good night.